Sanguisugabogg is taking death metal to new heights with their sophomore LP. Their self-aware humor gave 2021's Tortured Whole its charm, and the band brings the same grimy, groove-filled metal that horror movie fans love. With surprisingly catchy tunes, Sanguisugabogg embraces their grossness. But Homicidal Ecstasy faces the challenge of elevating their cartoonish violence while preserving their original appeal. This album proves that even music made by bands, which is kind of translated to blood-sucking toilet, can be fun and enjoyable. In this video, I'm going to talk about Homicidal Ecstasy by Sanguisugabogg, released on February 3rd, 2023 through Century Media Records. This is their second album, which comes out only 2 years after their previous album called Tortured Whole. This is a band that plays old school death metal. I guess you can call it brutal death metal if you want. I think the biggest comparison would be a band like Cannibal Corpse or some of the more modern old school death metal bands like Fulci or Undeath. This is a band that does not take themselves seriously. A lot of their songs are very graphic, but in a juvenile and campy way. For example, if you look at some of the song titles like Black Market Vasectomy or Testicular Rot, they sound like they were written by 15-year-old boys in high school, but make no mistake, this is a fun band that gives you what you want. If you remember those old trauma films like The Toxic Avenger, that kind of campy, gory humor, this is what this band is all about. The Trauma Company actually filmed one of the music videos from their first album, which is very graphic. As for this album, it's more of that. The lyrics are still very graphic. So for example, Face Ripped Off is just like the title suggests. It's about somebody ripping the face off their victim. Pissed is about somebody they're just very angry with. The lyrics describe just wanting to beat the shit out of that person. And Non-Sexual Deviant is kind of out there. I guess similar to Alice Cooper's I Love the Dead from Billion Dollar Babies, but in this song, the dead person is reanimated first. This band is a very campy band. You can see from the album cover and the logo. One of those logos you can't understand, but I think they did it on purpose just to be extra cheesy. Like those memes when they show a pile of wood and it says it looks like a metal band logo. As for the album, I think it's a bit of an improvement over their first album. The first album was a little more straightforward death metal. I think on this one they're getting a little more experimental. One thing I noticed with this album were the tempos. For example, on their debut album, I think it was mostly fast-paced songs, but on this one, they slowed it down on a few of the songs, and it works well because it helps you distinguish when one song starts and the other one finishes. That was kind of a problem on the first album, but I don't really get it that much on this one. The guitar riffs are just as heavy as they were in the first album. You get a lot of traditional chugging riffs, a lot of that open six-string and palm muting. You hear that on songs like Black Market Vasectomy, which is something I don't recommend. If you want to get a vasectomy, do it in a clinic or a hospital. Even if it costs you a couple of $1,000s, it's definitely worth it. If I have one issue with the album, it's the drums sounded a little bit like those Saint Anger trash can drums. But I think it sounds a little better in this context, in this type of music. I just still can't get over the feeling they are banging on an upside-down bucket or something. But they make this drum sound and they do it with some different ideas. You get lots of different types of rhythms. You have blast beats on songs like Testicular Rot and Skin Cushion. On the song Narcissistic Incisions, it has some blast beats, but they also have some nice work with the hi-hats and the cymbals. So I think the drum sounded kind of very raw, but it didn't work on this album. As for the vocals, most of the time, the vocals are just the same. You know, you can't really understand what they're saying. You can call them either the Cookie Monster vocals or just those guttural vocals similar to a band like Cannibal Corpse. But I did notice they did some different stuff. For example, Hungry for Your Insides has some pig squeals, which actually sounded pretty good, not like 6 Feet Under from Nightmares of the Decomposed. It's actually, you know, it just works with the album. And you also hear those pig squeals in the song Lesson in Savagery. So like I was saying, mostly old school death metal. They don't really stray from that formula. I heard some elements of like thrash metal on the song Pissed. And that song also has some groove metal on it. And the song Mortal Admonishment has some guitar riffs that reminded me of traditional heavy metal. And the riff in that song reminded me of that Headbangers Ball riff, which was actually Stormtroopers of Death, I believe. But I think they added these little things just to make it not sound too repetitive. I think I liked it better than the first album. They're taking some more chances, but they don't take too many chances as to make the sound a completely different band or a complete change of style. Same type of music, it's not very complex. The simplistic nature of the riffs make it a little more catchier. I think there might have been one instance where they got a little technical and sounded like tech death, but most of the album was just a lot of chugging and distortion and dissonance, and sometimes that's just what you want because it makes the songs catchy and memorable. I think I gave the last album an 8 out of 10. I'll give this one an 8 out of 10 as well, even though I think it's a little better, but I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please remember, like, comment, subscribe. Check out this other playlist right here with 2023 new releases, and I will see you in the next one.